Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy Skywalker OG coming at you with some more Rise of Kingdoms content, and today we're going to be talking about that Scipio march that we were using in this 307 KDK. Now, we did try a couple different pairs with the Scipio, but mostly we enjoyed that Scipio hero, and we're going to go ahead and discuss it. Let's go ahead and look at the gear that we are using for this KDK. Of course, we don't have the best infantry gear whatsoever, but this is what we were rocking out with on here. We have the Seth's Call, and we have our Delane's Amulet for our accessories. Of course, we have the Gatekeeper Shield because it gives us a good health boost. There's not really an epic accessory or epic weapon that gives anything for infantry except for attack. So I really want that infantry health. That's why we have that Gatekeeper Shield. We are looking to start working for our infantry legendary gear now. And of course, we do have that Shio's boots. We made them a long time ago and we just haven't switched out of those yet. And then we're rocking with the rest is epic proc except for our Hope Cloak. Hope Cloak is going to stay a Hope Cloak. I don't think I'm going to change it from anything else. I do appreciate the Hope Cloak's defense. Now let's go ahead and look at our talent trees. We ran the same talent tree pretty much all KDK. I wanted to get that Cage of Thorns really for that reduce the enemy's march speed to be able to really target them and focus them down. But for the most part, I just went for the full support skill tree here, and then we ran up for the whole line up top. We went all the way to march speed, and then march speed up here, and then of course some defense at the top left. Now we really wanted the march speed buffs just so we didn't really get left behind with all of our other marches. That's what we were going for with that. Now let's go ahead and look at some of these reports. We can go ahead and show the bust as well. Let's go ahead and look at this. Here's our Scipio hero versus their Scipio hero. Now you can tell that we have a little bit more infantry attack, but the rest of our buffs were pretty low. Now, of course, we did show our gear. We don't have the best gear whatsoever for infantry. And then, of course, this guy actually has pretty much a full set. And then he's got his iconics on there as well. So, go ahead and look at this report. He wasn't focusing me too well, it doesn't look like. And then we got some axes on him, or he did focus me, and he did it after he was very low. So either way, we got some pretty good damage dealt to him. And then of course these axes are just flying off, hitting a couple of marches off to the side, and then we're getting focused by this Scipio Alex, which did a very good trade on me. Now I believe I actually do have some Scipio Alex reports we'll have to get down into. But for me personally, I really didn't like the way that Scipio Alex was playing out. I do understand how their busted debuffs do work. I understand that Alex is a very good open field march, but personally, I feel like he's been phased out this late in the game. That's just a personal opinion. He does have a lot of utility that is still very usable on the field. I just personally feel like he's not up there in the top tier. Like I feel like there's a numerous amount of other commanders that I would rather throw out behind my infantry marches when I'm only doing one infantry march anyways, besides an Alex. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I did give him a good try though. I believe we actually have some reports here with that Scipio Alex. But for the most part, we were rocking out with that Scipio hero. I mean, you can see it got some really good reports here, some really good trades. I can't be disappointed. I cannot be disappointed with the trades that it was actually pulling out. Let's see. I mean, even against the flag swarms that I did, it wasn't too bad. I was expecting to have lost a lot more troops considering the gear that I was rocking out with, but it held up considerably well for what we were fighting against. And of course, you also got to keep in mind, guys, we are fighting against 960 with this little bit of legendary gear that we're rocking out on. So to be able to pull out some reports like this, I can't really get too upset. Now here's where that Nevsky Boily boy just tore me to pieces. And then of course there's one Scipio hit me too. Of course I can't look at buffs, but if we were looking at buffs, I guarantee you this man had some iconics there. It clapped me up pretty well. But we got our trades back, you know, on a couple of these other marches, and of course we got some AoE on the way. So overall, this was probably one of our really bad reports. But it's not too bad. It's not too bad. If these are the worst reports I took on KVK, I'd be happy with myself. I would pat myself on the back. Sadly, they were not. I do believe I have the worst reports. I don't think it came out of my Scipio hero much better. I actually think my worst support was probably my Ethelfled that I was using for some reason, just joking around. That was probably the worst march that I used this game. Or this game became. Let's see. Yep. Nothing too insane. It did its job, and then of course it picked some AoE damage up along the way. So I mean, it did everything that I expected it to do, right? Now I will say, I thought that Harold's debuff for the defense would be huge against Scipio. Like, you know, putting him behind Scipio, I really thought that would be really huge, especially since I don't have that great of gear. But it seems like Scipio does pretty well at, you know, compensating the fact that Harold's gonna debuff you a little bit. Scipio did a very good job at, you know, holding up, doing pretty well, and keeping the damage down. Just trying to get to some of these other Scipio marches that we used that didn't involve Harold. Here we go. Here was a swarm though. Here's a swarm on a flag. This flag was not all the way filled up, obviously. We only hit it with 970k in it. That was a flag one there. Thought it was gonna be a good one, but it was not. It was just a little one, sorry. Let's go here. That's another Scipio Herald. That's another Scipio Herald. Let's see. We're trying to get to our other Scipio marches so I can kind of show you guys the difference in how they perform. Now, of course, this is all open field, guys. We were pretty much outnumbered. If you look on our live streams, you'll see that we really did on the field. We pretty much got beat up at every situation on the field. So these are you know, relatively good reports to judge from. We tried our Scipio CJ, as you see here. Now, we didn't have an expertise CJ. I believe he's only 5.1. So we are missing the last skill on CJ, but it didn't do too hot anyways. I didn't really care for it. It didn't do, you know, garbage or terrible like I thought it would do, but it definitely was not as good as the Scipio Herald march. So we kind of shied away from that relatively quickly. I think I sent it out a couple of times here. I believe I should have 2 or 3 reports to show you guys, and then I just kind of bailed on the idea because it was not providing, you know, the damage output that I wanted or the versatility that I wanted. It wasn't doing well. It was not doing well. The Scipio CJ was not it. Let's see. And of course, like I said, I don't have the CJ expertise. He is only at 5551. Let's see. I also used a Guan Scipio. Where is you at? And we used the same gear there, but we did have the skill damage tree on that Guan. See if we can get to it. We saved a lot of reports here, guys. We saved a lot of reports here. We're trying to get down to the Scipio here, or Scipio Aethel, Scipio, anything that wasn't Scipio Hero. That's what we're trying to get down to. This Gilga just trashed me. Her KZK's Gilga trashed me big time. Let's see. No, that's another Scipio Herald. Jeez, is that all we got here? Scipio Heralds? Let's go all the way down towards the bottom here. So I know at the beginning we were rocking out with something else with our Scipio. Come on, man. All KVK, we were not using Scipio Herald, right? Did I really not save any of my other reports? I mean, we did the Scipio CJ. Here's Scipio. Here we go. Here's a Scipio Aethel. We were trying the Aethel for the AoE factor. It was good. It was doing relatively well. Don't get me wrong. It did relatively well, and it did pick up some extra AoE. This is honestly not a bad march, guys. I would not. I'm not gonna say that it's great. I would not personally use it as a top pick behind my Scipio, but Scipio is a very good march to invest in, and if you're going Scipio first and you really don't have an Alex, or you don't have a Herald, or you don't have a Guan, or you don't have a Honda, then Aethelfled is probably a good choice. Aethelfled is, I mean, here's the reports, guys. Here's the reports. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's not amazing. It picked up some AoE value, obviously. It did Aethelfled's buffs, debuffs. It did Scipio's buffs, debuffs. It got the job done. It did relatively well. It did relatively well. Now, there was a few times where they just swarmed the hell out of it and it got, you know, the dickening, but It did relatively well. Let's see. Here's one. Let's see. Here's another bad one. Trying to get to a big chunk. I tried out the Scipio Sun Tzu. That honestly wasn't bad at all either. Honestly, Scipio Sun Tzu, this one might have been better than the Aethelflaed. The only reason why I would say the Aethelflaed is just because of the extra debuffs that Aethelflaed brings to the table. But for actual damage and trades, the Scipio Sun Tzu did do better than the Scipio Aethelflaed. Just to put that out there, Scipio Sun Tzu was better than Scipio Aethelflaed. Not that it's anything amazingly hard to, you know, fathom, but it also got clapped up when it got swung down. So I think this might be actually one of those reports. Yeah, we're doing good, getting good trades, getting some positive AoEs here. We're looking all nice and shiny, and then all of a sudden, bang, 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 out. Just start getting smacked. Just, yeah, dude. Just, ow, ow, ow. Yeah, just get beat up. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. So you can definitely go with a Sun Tzu behind as well. Aethelflaed's not too bad. It all depends on what you're wanting. If you're wanting more damage, then I would go with the Sun Tzu. If you're wanting more versatility, more debuffs on the back end, then I would definitely pull out that Aethelflaed. It all depends on what you personally want. It's not a bad option either way, as you've seen in the reports. Scipio will work with Sun Tzu. Scipio will work with Aethelflaed. I mean, you see the gear, guys. We don't have good gear at all, and Scipio is still pulling out some decent reports, and you have to keep in mind that realistically all we're doing is trying to keep him on the field. That way you can get all these buffs that he brings. Let's go ahead and go through them very quickly. Increased skill damage dealt by 10%. When the target is silenced, rage grows 30% faster. This is huge if you have the Guan Scipio combo and have a Trajan with it. I really like that combo if you have a Trajan with it as well. A Trajan Mulan, a Trajan Mulan and a Scipio, a Guan Scipio. That combo together is insanely nuts on building up rage and popping off them skills back to back to back to back to back. Okay, because once you get that silence from Guan, then you get this extra boost from Scipio. Once you get the extra boost from Trajan for the damage output, then you get the extra boost from your Milan, then you get an extra Milan, or then Milan can potentially give you extra rage. It's a very good cycle, and I've seen 960 abuse the hell out of those two marches in tandem. It's very nice, and here is the Scipio Guan right there. Or Guan Scipio right there, which I did as well, but I don't see any of those reports here, so maybe we didn't save them, or maybe I'm kind of skipping through them. Let's try to look for our Scipio Guan reports, or Guan Scipio reports. Did we go Scipio Guan? Is that the issue? No, I'm pretty sure we went Guan Scipio. I may not have saved any. That's very bad for me. I will say that if you're gonna go the Guan Scipio route though, guys, you do need very good gear. You need better gear than what I'm rocking. I know for a fact I got my cheeks clapped. I don't know why I didn't save the reports, but I know I got my cheeks clapped on those. I definitely wish I would have saved those reports. I thought I did. I'm trying to scroll through here, guys, real quick to see if I got any of them for you. Just to kind of give you a little rundown on them. Doesn't look like I do. Doesn't look like I do. Alright. But for the gear that we're rocking with, guys, for the reports that we got for what we were trying on the open field, our best march was definitely the Scipio Herald. Our second best march for the Scipio pairing, I honestly would have to give it up to Sun Tzu or Aethelflaed, kind of neck and neck there. I don't really have anything better to put there. Guan Scipio, if you have the gear that I'm rocking out with, I would not recommend it, guys. I wish I would have saved those reports because all of them were terrible. And I meant to save those reports. They might have actually been on the first section that I accidentally deleted. I've saved a bunch of reports on the first few days and then accidentally deleted them in my favorites, so that was my fault. But anyways, I didn't like it in tandem, like I said, with the Trajan Milan, with the Scipio, or Guan Scipio, and good gear. Guan Scipio is probably the best pairing for Scipio. But with the gear that I have. Harold Sigurdsson was definitely hands down the best pairing behind my Scipio. Anyways, until next time guys, I hope you enjoyed this content, and peace out.